Recently, my staff went to a Virginia gun show just to see what it was like. It was last July at a convention center in Chantilly, Virginia, about 25 miles west of here. Inside, it looked like a giant flea market, rows and rows of folding tables stocked with all things gun-related, clips, ammunition, World War II memorabilia, military surplus, and many different kinds of guns. At one table, a vendor offered to sell her a .50 caliber weapon. She was my chief counsel. He said, "You better get them while you can, before Obama bans them." She asked him, why would I need a .50 caliber rifle? He told her that if someone was coming at her with a big .50 caliber weapon, the only way to match the firepower would be to arm herself with the same size firearm. It was a .50 caliber Browning machine gun. These guns can shoot more than a mile with accuracy. You can shoot across the Potomac and hit the White House with this weapon. The vendor was selling the gun for $7,500, but offered to reduce the price to $6,000 because it was the last day of the gun show. He didn't ask for any ID. A gun show is an unregulated marketplace. You don't have to register as a gun vendor. People walk around with their guns on their shoulders with for sale signs attached to the barrels. You can sling your AR-15 or your AK-47 assault rifle on your back and sell it to anyone who comes up and asks. This means a felon, a domestic abuser, or someone who is mentally incompetent. No IDs needed and no questions asked. This legislation changes that. It would amend the Brady Handgun Violence Protection Act to require background checks for all gun sales at gun shows. It also would require licensed gun dealers to keep records of guns sold at gun shows to make it easier to trace guns that are later used in crimes. Let me just make a couple of other points. The student shooter responsible for Virginia Tech massacre, as I understand it, purchased his guns from a licensed gun shop. We know now that he never should have been allowed to purchase guns because of his history of mental illness. However, had he been stopped from purchasing those guns at a gun shop, he could have attended a nearby gun show to purchase weapons from an unlicensed dealer. Again, no questions asked. 3 of the 4 weapons at Columbine were purchased at gun shows. An 18-year-old girl bought them for 17-year-old shooters. She said she wouldn't have bought the guns if a background check was required. Yesterday marked the 10th anniversary of this tragedy. The Oklahoma City bomber, Timothy McVeigh, financed his domestic terrorist activities by selling stolen firearms at gun shows. In California, a Sacramento gang member, under police surveillance, recently traveled to Reno and walked out of a gun show with an AK-47 strapped to his chest. That's how easy it is for violent criminals to get hold of weapons. Now let me be clear. Closing the gun show loophole, as suggested by Senators Lautenberg and Reed, will not prohibit average law-abiding Americans from buying guns. It will simply build on the success of the Brady law by preventing criminals and mentally incompetent individuals from obtaining guns. Since the passage of the Brady law, more than 100 million background checks have been performed. And because of those checks, more than 1.6 million illegal buyers were denied guns. I say congratulations to the Brady group. No doubt these background checks have saved lives. I don't think we need any more evidence that a gun in the hand of a wrong person is a real threat to everyone in society. And recently, in both Pittsburgh and Oakland, a real threat to the police and those who try to keep us safe. I say it is time to pass this legislation. America will be much safer